Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
So pleased to have back on the show Grammy Award-winning country music singer, songwriter, actress, and producer. She does it all, Pam Tillis. Pam, thanks for coming back on the show.
Oh, my pleasure.
So it's great to have you on, especially when you're going to be playing here at the City Winery tonight.
I'm pretty wound up about it. Well, it's just great to bring the show back to town. You know, we put it together at the rehearsal hall, and then we take it all over everywhere else. And this is a way that, you know, our friends and our family and all the band's friends and families, they can, you know, see what we've been doing.
Well, and, you know, also as an Opry member, which you have been, what, since 2000, I believe?
Yeah.
That's 23 years as an Opry member.
It just flew by.
And so possibly you're going to be doing some more Opry shows, too?
We're trying to fit more in this year. You know, everything's been strange since the lockdown, and just kind of trying to get our footing back and making up lost dates and everything. So the last couple of years have been super busy. So yeah, we're fitting in more Opries, and that's always a thrill.
Well, and also in between doing your solo shows, you're also with your buddy Lorrie Morgan doing Grits and Glamour shows.
Yeah, we've got a handful more Grits and Glamour, handful of Grits and Glamour in the fall. And that'll wrap up that year for us. But we're just gonna roll on with that. As long as the phone rings for Grits and Glamour, we'll show up. We love working together. She's a hoot.
Well, and you both have so many hit songs.
It's a nice package.
Yeah.
And also, I've enjoyed working with, we had another package going for a little while, Chicks with Hits, and that's Susie Boggess and Terry Clark, and that was a blast too. I'd like to put Lorrie and Susie and Terry, put it all together. So when that's not happening, though, I do a lot of solo dates. We do acoustic and full band. Tonight's going to be full band.
Wow.
And it's rocking. It's a totally different animal than the acoustic show.
Well, and I think a lot of your hit songs, too, and you've had so many, I believe, 6 #1s. And, you know, and I love all your, you know, hit songs that, you know, just all over the radio. Great music videos, too.
Thank you.
And so some of those songs, you know, like My Crazy Life and everything, kind of need a full band.
They really do. I mean, we pull it off with acoustic, and we try to, you know, the arrangement changes depending on your instrumentation.
Yeah.
But the full band, you know, I love it too, and I can just rock out. I still get into that.
Well, it does, but I mean, I think it's so much fun.
Speaking of rocking out, I have to tell you, we started off the year doing a cruise, the country cruise, and I broke my foot like 2 days before that show, but I got a false negative. They looked at the x-ray, they sent it back into shore, they said, no, it's not really broken. Anyway, and I'm hopping around on stage. I don't sit still really
I know
easily.
You don't. I've seen you live.
Yeah. So anyway.
You're in motion.
I'm too cool to be cool.
No, you are always cool. Well, and the thing is,
I can't be cool. I just want to have fun.
Well,
I feel the music, and we've got some arrangements of some of the classic of some of my songs. You know, we tweak them. We want them to grow.
Right.
You'll know them. You can sing along with them, but I don't want them to sound completely like, you know. I was sitting on the bus the other day, and I told my piano player, my fiddle player, I said, you know, the last thing, people say it, and it's nice, they go, it's a legacy act. And that's nice, but I always say, I don't want to be like one of those mosquitoes trapped in amber. You know, like prehistoric. I'm still a living, breathing, I'm moving forward. And we're doing some new music. Like I said, I like to run things up the flagpole.
Because you came out with that new album last year.
It's actually been 2020.
Yeah.
So I'm working on the next batch of songs, and I don't want to wait till I get in the studio, because it might not be till first of next year. So we're test driving them. So
the audiences that come to your shows are going to get to hear fresh new material that's not even been recorded
And I
yet.
want to know what they think in real time, so they tell me.
Well, and I think you keep yourself fresh too, Pam, and I was joking you before we started the interview, to where I'm telling you, I think every other artist that we have come on the show has either been with you for a co-write before the show or after the show, and goes, oh yeah, I'm writing with Pam Tillis. I'm like going, when does she sleep? Well, it's like, you know, and you've written hit songs, you know, for Conway Twitty, Chaka Khan, Juice Newton, besides yourself. And you're staying fresh writing with all of these young artists up and coming.
That's the Bill Anderson theory of songwriting. You keep, I was watching that happen a few years back, and I'm like, he's so smart.
Mm-hmm. And Bill, just like yourself, has had hit songs in every decade.
I know.
And you keep going and doing the same also.
Well, that's the plan. We'll see what happens.
But
no, there's just so much great talent, and it's fun to get in a room with somebody that it's all ahead of them.
Right.
And they've got that youthful enthusiasm, and it's all new. It's
exciting. And you started out as classically trained pianist, when you were little.
I did Blair, which, who owns that now? It was part of Peabody School of Music.
Right.
Anyway, Mom took me over there, and I studied classical. But I loved all kinds of music.
Totally. Well, and I think that's what I've always enjoyed about you too, Pam, to where, whether being on tour with Lorrie or with your other groups and also your solo acts, is that you've always kind of kept that rock feel.
It's
but
a little
also
bit
with
of a hybrid.
It is, and
but
I
it
like
always
that.
comes back. We were going, I've got I guess I can say this, I'm going to do Daly and Vincent's TV show here pretty soon.
Oh, good.
And I
Such
was
great
looking
guys.
back to, a lot of especially my first album, there's a little thread of bluegrass too on there. So,
yes, there is. I can hear it.
That's from watching a lot of Flat and Scruggs on Saturday afternoon TV, and the, and Mayberry RF.
Oh yeah, totally, with Andy Griffith. Well,
Andy Griffith
and I
show.
mean, and you as a young child were around so many of those people, and I have to wonder, once again, you've been an Opry member, for 23 years now, but you first sang on the Opry when you were only 8 years old doing Tom Dooley. What's it like now when you're on that Opry stage? What does it feel like today?
Well, now that was the old Ryman.
Right.
And both of those stages are, it's the, that I have really precious memories of that. I have on my piano today, back when I was a little girl, there wasn't air conditioning in the Ryman. Different time.
Right.
We didn't have the crazy heat. We got hot. But anyway, they used to have funeral home paper fans.
Right, I remember
and
those.
everybody'd sit there and fan.
Right.
And so I love antiquing. Everywhere I go on the road, I hit up the little antique. Well, if the schedule permits,
Sure.
I'll hit the antique shops. And I found one of those little Jesus fans. I'm like, that's going home.
Yeah, because I so
That's
remember
on my
that
piano.
too. Whenever you would go to, funerals and different things, everybody would be fanning themselves. And,
But I love doing Opry classics at the Ryman.
oh, definitely.
I love doing the old hardcore country.
Right.
And I'm always going to push the envelope, but I do. That's in my DNA. That's in my blood,
totally.
in my bones. And it's so funny. The more decades that go by, the more people do really appreciate 60s and 70s country. Even right now 90s country is hot, but go back.
Right. And I think that's the great thing is that, deep artists like yourself make us take a deeper listen because, we were all raised up through those times. And it's like, and when you go back, when you're listening to your music now and, new music that you're going to have coming out, then you go back and go, oh, wait, but she was listening to.
Exactly.
It's like a gateway.
It is. And I love research. I'm a nerd like that.
Right.
In fact, when I was doing rock for a while, and pop and rock, and my first album was a pop album.
I remember.
And I had just kind of, I just overlooked the country that I grew up. It's like sort of like Daddy's music. I loved it, but it was my, parents' music.
Right.
And so when I decided to make a turn back to country, this is kind of a funny thing. It's a funny sounding thing, but this is before we had all these streaming services and you could get everything at the drop of a hat.
Right.
But I called the Country Music Foundation and I said, can I come hang out in your archives? And I listened to all these old, I went back. And I listened, they let me hang out there for like a month and I just tried to connect the dots for myself, because I didn't also know everything that Daddy was up to.
Right.
You know, your dad doesn't tell
Well,
you
he's your
everything.
dad.
Right. And he doesn't tell you everything, like who all the people are and who all the players are. And now I look back, and especially when Dad passed away, we found a lot of things, old photographs and things. It's like, wait a minute. So I knew Daddy had 2 songs recorded by Patsy Cline, but I had no idea that there he was standing, you know, as a part of Patsy's band. So they must have done some shows where Daddy actually played rhythm guitar for her. And I had no.
And that's just history.
Yeah, and so I'm still piecing it all together.
How incredible. Oh my gosh. Well, I want to bring up too, you know, in your spare time, when you're not, you know, co-writing, doing your solo show, doing Grits and Glamour, you know, all these great things you're doing, you also act some, and you did a lot of time on the show Nashville. And now you're in a new movie that's going to be coming out later this year or next year with Beau Bridges, right?
I'm not sure the release date, but something
Yeah.
just came across in my emails that I barely glanced at. But yeah, Beau Bridges has a movie, Neon Highway.
Yeah.
So I just did a cameo in it, which was cool. Yeah, I cussed for the first time on it. I'm not all squeaky clean. Anyway, but yeah. So, you know, the phone rings occasionally for you know, my formidable acting chops.
Well,
Yeah,
obviously.
no,
Besides your
it's fun.
formidable songwriting chops.
No, it's fun.
Yeah.
I like doing things that scare me. So I haven't jumped out of a plane yet, but that's about it.
I just think it's so, I think it speaks to your creative character though, Pam, to where you continue to push the envelope and you're not just settling. And like you're talking about writing with these younger writers and these younger artists, you know, you could easily rest on your laurels. You've got enough hits, you've got Grammys, you've got all these awards, you've got platinum records.
Yeah, I don't want to settle. I mean, as long as I'm doing it,
Yeah.
I just don't, I'm not wired that way. I just,
Right.
I just don't want to inhabit the stage incompletely. I don't
Well,
wanna
and
do
especially
that.
if you're testing out new songs
Yeah.
tonight and on these
Yeah,
other
I
shows.
got to find joy in it.
Totally.
In the audience, somebody asked me in a recent interview, like, what, you know, why do you know, what keeps you going? And it's just, you always have to connect with the joy that you know, as a young woman, I started playing guitar and writing songs at 15. Wow. And that's such a formative time.
Definitely.
And as a teenager, you're soaking up a lot of music. But I always just try to reconnect with that, you know, that young girl in her bedroom listening to all the records. That's back, you know. I've done bell bottoms 3 times now. So, you know.
I know, they all come back. It's like we were talking about your incredible vest.
Thank you. Vests are back. It's
Yeah.
all, the hat. I was doing the hat 30 years ago,
Right.
and I'm like, I put them on now, and I'm like, are people going to think I'm trying to be trendy? No, I did that.
But you know, it goes back to, though, like we were talking with your original album releases, to where you were rocking before people were really doing it, and you know, that kind of set
Oh,
the
my
trend,
God.
and particularly with your hits in the 90s and everything
Yeah.
too. You know, it's
and now you go see a country music show, and it's like, it is pretty hard rock.
I mean, it's like,
times.
but it's like, but
pretty wild.
you started off doing that.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
you weren't just following in family's footsteps. You were covering your own ground.
Just trying to do my own thing. Yeah, well, and I knew I had enough. I realized pretty early on that there wasn't going to be a lot of satisfaction in just, I don't know, you know, I say following in Daddy's footsteps exactly, but I don't mean that in any way to take away from
No.
the reverence and respect that I had
Certainly
for what
not.
he did, because that was huge. And I also love seeing I did get to work with him a lot, and I miss working with him, but I
Right.
did want to find my own way, my own voice musically. But you know, then I look at all these wonderful bluegrass bands that come play the Opry and everything, families, and I'm like, we were just all too unruly to work together all the time.
But you did tour with him some and back him up.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and what a great time. And you've got your own record label too.
Yeah, we did that. Well, we
with
did that
Stellar
for
Cat.
a while. Yeah, and we're distributed by. We have a distributor, 1 RPM, but yeah, Stellar Cat. My husband had to get out of the record business because it was just too much. We have so many irons in the fire.
Right.
He's a businessman and he does so many things that we kind of we're not doing the total record company thing for a while. But you know what it enabled me to do is, speaking of finding your own voice,
Right.
I think at the end of the 90s, I went through some soul searching. I'm like, who am I now?
Certainly.
And what do I really want to do musically? You know, when you start having hit records, it's good, but then there's these things that's like, oh, people expect me to do this and expect me to do this. And what if I need to, you know, I guess I'm famous for, you know, making lefts when everybody thinks I should be going right.
But isn't that great?
Yeah, it's really good. So
Because you're never bored.
No, it's just enough. I get.
And you still have hits.
Yeah, you know, as many, I got my share. And Daddy always said, this is one advantage of growing up in the business. He goes, there will be a day that, you know, you won't be on the hit parade. And get ready, it happened to me.
Right.
It's okay, doesn't mean it's not over.
Right.
I mean that it's over. But the spotlight does move, and I'm happy to share it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And share your gifts with other writers
Thank you.
too.
But you know, we still get a lot, now that there's all these satellite radio and everything, we still get a lot of play. And
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the sold out shows.
Yeah, no, it's been good. Like it's really good.
Well, I want to make sure too for our viewers, besides playing the City Winery tonight, and you're going to have more solo shows coming, and still some more Grits and Glamour this fall.
Yeah.
And I'm sure more things to talk about besides being in another movie, and probably in more TV shows, I'm sure, and who knows how many new songs coming out. Pam Tillis is not slowing down a bit.
No. No.
Well, you know, what's the website and social? What's the best place for viewers to connect with you? I know there's a few tickets left for the show tonight. Where should they go, Pam?
Well, for tickets, you know, go to the City Winery website. But you can visit me on Instagram, Pam Tillis official music page on Facebook. And I guess I'm going to sign up for Threads.
And I think also giving fashion hints with hats and vests and everything might be an angle too.
You know, people have talked to me about that. But
I'm sure.
I mean, I don't always get it right, but people seem to like my quirky style, so yeah.
You're a trendsetter.
I'm a clothes horse. I'd have a lot more money if I wasn't. But
So you're saying that there's just as many clothes going on tour with you as there are instruments
it's
then?
pretty silly. It's pretty silly.
Well, I think you always look incredible.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
you are a force of nature just with your music and everything, Pam.
You're so kind, and I appreciate you keeping up.
Definitely. Well, be sure and keep up with Pam Tillis. Go see her live at the City Winery tonight. And there's going to be more shows, more things coming out, and more incredible new music. Be sure and check it out and add it to your playlist. Thank you, Pam.
What he said.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of a Bobby Bones Show.